glad to have you with us. Today, we're going to be talking about the power of social media and the rise of content creation.
So over the weekend, we shared a video talking about content creation and how much we made in December, and it got a lot of traction.
A lot.
Like, we got a lot of questions and comments, which was amazing. We weren't really expecting. We were just using that as a tool to motivate people. Like, hey, this could be you. And we got a lot of questions, and we are not the type of people to not offer everything that we know. So we spent the last few days kind of like talking, trying to get organized, because we're not used to having to have like an outline or have like a plan for our content. So that took a little bit getting used to. But the main question we got was how to monetize, and we're going to discuss that maybe in a couple of videos, because I feel like before we get to like how to make money, you have to start with like, how do you start creating content? Like, you can't monetize something you're not doing.
Yeah.
So I feel like one of the things that we were discussing a lot is just the power of social media and how it's a part of everyone's lives in one way or another. Like, unless you're like 90. Unless you're like 90, maybe.
The vast majority of people are consuming social media of some kind on a daily basis, but fewer people are actually creating content.
Like, significantly fewer people. Like, when we think of our social circles, like, there are a very limited number of people who are actively creating content on social media. And I feel like some people downplay it and make it seem like, oh, like, you're just making funny videos. Yes, that is true, and we do have a lot of fun making funny videos, but the reality is that in making those funny videos over the last year, we acquired a skill that, like, I never thought of it. Like, oh, we're going to become good video editors, or, you know, have great ideas on videos to create.
Yeah.
And most companies, most brands heavily rely on social media, specifically in the short video format.
There's definitely been a shift in the market, right? From big brand commercials to small grassroots marketing because of the reach that it has, and reaching those markets in a very genuine and authentic way.
Yeah, authentic is the key. I feel like people are being drawn more towards authentic, which is why YouTube channels and people who share YouTube has become almost most popular than watching a TV show, is because people realize these are real people. Like, yeah, this is all staged and rehearsed, but this is getting a glimpse into someone that might have a completely different lifestyle or a very similar lifestyle to mine that is engaging. So
now, I will say, Karen and I are both creatives. I did a stint in art school, and I had done art all through high school, art 1 through 4, and Karen is highly creative as well. So we have that in our corner. So when we go into brainstorming ideas and how to take angles for different shots, we have the ability that we can kind of fall back on that. But by no means are we...
We have different fortes. Like, you're good at coming up with transitions and angles, and you don't really care about what's in the video. And I'm like, no, the main point, like, or the funny idea, the theme of the video is this. So I
love the videography, like B-roll and all the creative pieces that make it interesting. And
I like making it engaging and entertaining.
So we work well together.
Yeah. But the point was that we had no idea what we were doing, and now we would consider ourselves not experts, but definitely knowledgeable, and being able to create a good video that hooks the audience and keeps them engaged all the way through.
Yeah, for sure. I think the surprising thing, at least this past week, was the number of people who reached out to us who have a significant following, and we're like, wait, how did you monetize? And we just thought that people who had large followings were already doing all of these things. So it's been really cool to have conversations with what I would consider to be proficient content creators and help to provide direction in that monetization component.
And I will say that research is my forte, and I enjoy it a lot. And so if something sparks, like, is there something here? I will go down a rabbit hole for hours. And I will look at videos, I will read articles, I will look at blog posts, I will look at Instagram. Like, I will get all the info in a short amount of time. And I feel like that has been something that I've been able to do, is that the second someone says, like, oh, you can work with brands, I'm like, wait, what? How? Yeah. And I just find every possible source. So now I can come in more succinctly, is that how you say it?
Succinctly.
Now I can come in more succinctly, put it together for other people to not have to go all over. So yeah, I think the biggest thing is start creating content and have fun with it. Really, like you don't have to overthink it. I feel like I was gonna say this, that we would take hours to make one video.
Perfection paralysis is a real thing.
We would take hours to take make one video over sometimes the course of several days when we first started, and we were both like, is it even good? I don't know. And I don't think it's until we had a few videos that were like worth our time that people were like, that was really good. That we're like, oh, okay, we're kind of getting it.
And the interesting thing, like when we first began, we would do 1 to 2 videos a week. Whereas now we're batch content creating 5 to 10 on a good day, sometimes more than 10 videos.
In like an hour or two.
In like 2 to 3 hours, I would say, for the larger amounts. And the great thing about it is you will find your rhythm and be able to have a system in place. And that system is honestly the heartbeat of your content creation. And I don't know, do you want me to kind of go into kind of the key components to what that looks like? So other than just starting, there are a few things that you will need to know before you create content. And one of them is you have to put out high quality content. You can't just put anything out there. Even if it is funny, people are going to judge that quality. We are an entertainment generation, right? The video quality does matter. And it doesn't necessarily mean you have to have the latest edition of whatever you're using, camera or phone. We started with an iPhone 10 and we shot the majority of the last year on that device, and it worked just fine. Our viral videos were shot with that device. And we've since upgraded, but you can start out with a good smartphone that has a high quality camera. Beyond that though, the lighting is huge. We will often open our front door or our back door to get natural light. We'll open windows or shoot next to a window.
We have a ring light.
Yeah, we have a ring light. We did buy some studio lights, but to be honest, we haven't really used them. They haven't been necessary. So you can make do with a lot of the things that you have in your surroundings, but understanding how light works is important, because when you're shooting a shot, Karen will often be like, no, that's bad lighting, let's move. And we'll shift somewhere else in the house to be able to get the right shot.
So it's just paying attention to little details like that. You don't have to buy a special piece of equipment, but being mindful of where the best lighting is, where the best room in your house is a small, big step.
And then beyond that, this is really a crucial piece, is the frequency and consistency of posting, right? Truly, this is not a less is more scenario. More is more. So the more content that you're producing, the better chances you are of being found, the better chances you are of having a viral video. And honestly, the more that you do it, it shows people that you are engaged, you're invested in this. Whereas if you post once or twice a week, right? Like your parents on Instagram, like the random time they went to dinner, or that random meal that your dad cooked, that looked awesome. That's not going to get you any followers. So you have to be consistently doing it. And I don't know what you think, Karen, but 2 videos a day is kind of where we have kind of grown to try and keep that momentum rolling. But when we first started, we started out with 1 to 2 videos a week, and we slowly grew as we felt more comfortable.
So I would say just start. Just getting started is the first step. If it's 1 video every 3 days, if it's 1 video every other day, whatever you can fit in. If it's 1 video a week, it's gonna be a slow journey, but it's better than not posting at all. I think for us, occasionally if we find a really funny video, we're like, they deserve the follow, because we're content creators and we know. But sometimes when I was first on TikTok, for example, I would find a couple that I'm like, oh, I kind of like them, but I wouldn't follow. And it would take me seeing them a few times where I'm like, okay, I like the type of content that they put out, so I'm going to follow. So by posting consistently, you'll get more viewers on your content, and it's way more likely that you'll have a video go viral, or that people will be exposed to you enough that they're like, okay, I want to follow this person.
For sure. And I think that plays into like the next thing, if we're talking top 3 things, would be the type of content that you're producing, is being consistent in the types of things. If you're all over the map, no one is going to know what you're about. I think that we were fortunate. We started out for Karen's sign business, which she had for several years, and she's like, I think I want to start posting some process videos or in-process videos because they look kind of cool with our laser machine. They didn't do that great, and then we had.
I didn't get. To post
you didn't get to posting.
Yeah.
You posted a random funny couples humor video, and
that went viral, and I was like, oh my word, That's us.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't a video that I had to put together. That was literally us being silly.
Being us.
And so I told Josh, like, forget the sign business. Like, if we went viral for being us, that is the most engaging, genuine type of content that I want to make.
Right. And so that leads into, as you watch other people, like trends and accounts that you're following, don't be afraid to mimic them to start, so you can start building content, like, the trends, follow the trends, do things.
And that's what TikTok makes it so easy, because you're not copying people. If there's a trend that you're like, that is so me, there's already tons of people that have done it. You can just try to do it in your unique way.
Exactly. So be authentic even in the trend. Do a spin on it that is specifically you. So it's a trend that everyone sees, but they notice that it's you. It's your brand. It's who you are. And then from that point, the content that you create, right? Like, we're known as the couple's humor, dad life, mom life, the things that come with us having 5 kids and loving to travel and all the rest. So as you figure out what that is, it's not necessarily niching, but it's creating that persona around things that are naturally you and that you're passionate about. Things that you're able to create on repeat easily. Because if you can't repeat it frequently, it's going to be very hard for you to come up with consistent content.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of like being like, you have to pick a topic or a niche kind of thing. However, I do think that it's important that you create content that you would be happy to continue creating. So if you're not that fond of cooking, but one day you're doing a fancy dinner and you do a really good video on cooking and you go viral for that, like, that is not the thing you wanted to go viral for. Because now people followed you because they think that you like cooking, and you're like, oh, that was the one dinner. So that's kind of what we mean. Like, make all kinds of content that are true to you. So if you like photography and you share some photography, or if you like fashion and you share fashion, it's okay to not do one thing. But knowing that if you went viral for one of the videos that you make, people might expect at least to see some of that in your content. So for us, when we went viral for a couple comedy, we were like, oh, that was what we were gonna do. So it worked out. If we had gone viral for sharing you cooking, which, I mean, would have been easy to do. He does cook a lot, but that would not have been what I would have chosen for our content to be about.
No, I don't think
so I think that that's the main idea for that.
Yeah. And then once you start actually creating content and you have a portfolio, we'll say, of content, that's really where, if you start expanding from one platform to the next and you recycle that content, you're gonna hit, like I said, various demographics, because certain people are on Facebook that aren't on Instagram.
Yeah, I think we're going to talk about that more in our next video, which will be how to grow your following. So I think the last thing that I wanted to say for this one is, don't overthink it. Truly just start creating content and you will find your groove. Like, you will find what you like making and what your audience connects with, or you will find not even what your audience connects with, but you will realize, okay, every time I do this type of video, it does really well. So I'm going to keep making that type of video.
The viewers will provide the affirmation that you're looking for of what direction to go. So everyone has something to offer. I don't care if you say you're not creative or you don't know where to begin. Like, you have something to offer. You are uniquely you. I just talked with a guy who is interested in having a conversation with us about, like, helping him figure out what is his thing. And as I was talking with him, he's sharing about how he's in construction and he's not artistic. He's like, don't give me your phone or your camera. I'm gonna break it. He said,
however, I have thousands of hours of footage flying drones.
I was like, wait. You have thousands of hours of flying drones and all these process videos.
People like seeing
and photos.
that.
I'm like, right there's your content, man. It's that simple. It's that. He's like, but is it really that simple? It is that simple. It's something that you're already doing.
Or someone messaged me and was like, oh, I just don't know what I would share. And I checked their bio because I'm like, there's got to be something. And it said, it mentioned what state they're, which is a beautiful state, I won't say. It mentioned what state they're from, that they are a wedding photographer and they love to travel. And I was like, photographer, travel, and the beautiful state you live. Yeah. Like, even if you just started with that and then you realized, okay, I realized that what I really enjoy is now this, you can shift. You're never stuck in a certain type of video.
Especially once you create that following, you have the liberty, I would say, to be a little bit more loose in the content that you create. whereas in the beginning, you should be more focalized.
All right, last thing. We get asked, how do I feel comfortable? How do you still... I lack confidence. I am awkward. You guys, everyone is awkward. We all lack confidence. And to be honest, nothing has shown us how everyone has something to share, like you said, than being on social media. There are people that only wear a mask. There are people that never show their face and only show process videos. There are ASMR videos of people restocking their home with millions of followers. Like, oh, let me add laundry detergent. Let me refill the cereal. For real. So there's no excuse anymore for like, I just don't know what I could offer, or I don't know how I can feel that confident. Confidence grows. You fake it till you make it. And those first videos, I feel like I overthink certain things. I was way in my head. Like, and then I realized the worst that could happen is that the video is not going to get engagement.
Yeah,
like,
just don't be BS-y and like super like over the top confident.
Because
like,
people don't like that and they read through it.
Yeah, but just be confident. Like, hey, I'm working on this. I may not be the best, but I'm doing the best that I am right now, and be confident in what you're doing in that moment. So I think that for creating content,
that's about all we have. But we are more than willing to follow up if you have any specific questions, because it's a lot of information to put in one video. Our next video will be talking about how we grew our following, specifically us, that you can have examples of how that happened, how we grew up our following, and examples of how we feel like other people can replicate what we did and also grow a following.
And we understand, like, this is kind of a flyover of content creation. There's a lot of things that you can go way more into detail on. We could have an entire hour probably talking about just high quality. What are the things that go into that? But at the end of the day, like, these are the main components to content creation.
From our humble experience.
And if you are interested in having a deeper conversation about what those things look like, broken down very specifically for you to be able to take action, reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to help you as you launch your brand.
We hope that this helped and that we have motivated you even a tiny bit to take a step and start doing this if this is for you, if you're interested. Because if it's not, then please just forget about it.
Thanks again, guys, for joining us on another episode of The Stoleys.
Bye.